Excuse me, are you Bobby Soxer, candidate for state Congress?
Who wants to know?
I'm a freelance reporter, and I'd love it if you'd grant me an interview.
Yes. May I offer you a drink, madame?
Sure.
If it doesn't work, give it a shake. Step into my office.
Now, some people have labeled you eccentric.
Eccentric in what way?
They say you have quite an unorthodox style of hunting.
Well, you see, personally, I believe that if you cannot catch and kill an animal with your own bare hands, that you should not be allowed to eat it and use its skin for warmth.
Eccentricities aside, you had surprising success with your first election. Do you have any platforms you'd like to expound on for your up-and-coming election?
Yes. I believe that finding alternative fuel sources is a very big issue.
Not only did your previous attempts result in the destruction of private property, but can you explain as to why you would put corn oil in the gas tank of automobiles?
Hey! What are you doing? Well, you know, some problems are just too big to fix.
On top of the destruction of private property, there were also allegations of operating heavy machinery while intoxicated.
Well, that was a civil engineering project. I was building my Joseph A. Hatfield Memorial Swimming Complex.
The police said you didn't even get the backhoe started.
Well, yes, that's what I told them. That's why I was never convicted.
Speaking of convictions, what about the allegations of indecent exposure while trespassing?
Pervert! Thank you. Please vote Soxer. Well, that was another one of my cultural enhancement projects. It was a moving art sculpture.
Some of your other social improvements were not as successful, such as costumes for kids.
Well, kids had costumes, didn't they?
Yes, but several of them ended up needing to be hospitalized.
love kids.
What about the allegations of attempted murder?
You are now entering public property. If you do not want to be fired upon, leave the premises immediately. You have until the count of 3. 3.
Well, in that instance, I was protecting public property.
And it was merely coincidence that the person you shot happened to be your opponent for mayoral candidacy?
That was just a case of wrong time at the wrong place.
How do you go about making these campaign decisions?
Well, it's a very complex process. There's a lot of research and figuring, a lot of debating the issues, and in the end, sometimes it just comes down to divine inspiration.
So what I want you to take home with you is that the supreme goal of life is to surrender to God.
So what you're saying is I should raise taxes?
You just recently changed religions. Some say it was just an attempt to capture some of the swing votes.
Well, yes, my previous attempts at obtaining votes were highly successful, but a little too violent for my taste.
Thank you for voting saucer. Thank you for voting saucer.
After my change, I've become a man of peace.
So, what's next for Bobby Soxer?
I'm thinking of running for president.